What's up? We're back with building a FiveM server framework, whatever. This is basically an update video on what's actually been happening. Also, I'll bring up a couple things here. So, we'll first see the new SQL. So we have a couple things here. This automatically creates the database if it does not exist, so you could delete it if you want to update it. We have imported. Well, I have imported Ox inventory, as well as I think it's a QB clothing. And as of now, we just have this base player vehicles that just has everything here. Nothing really doing anything here just yet, but everything as of now should be working properly. So you have character creation with a closing menu, and an inventory, and everything just like that. So I'll show you guys a couple things that we did in the resources. Those that are keeping up, I did a lot on stream, so you probably won't be getting like a hand-to-hand video on what actually happened. So a couple things we did do is this was thanks to QB's items, basically. So we just have the shared items, and then we took QB's list of the items. Just to make it a little easier for us. Obviously, we're going to delete a lot of these because they just won't really have a use for us. And then we'll add more. But yeah, as we go on, we'll add, delete stuff, and see what's actually going to be happening with all this stuff here. And I believe there are a couple more things. Yes, we have a character saving thing. So every 20 minutes, so this is in minutes, this will passively save a character. So I just have it defaulted to every 20 minutes, as that made the most sense. A couple things in player actually did change here. So we have a save function that will update it. And these are all changed to Ox MySQL as well. So we have MySQL queries. And this is the save function, so we'll save all of this. Metadata right now is just used as a stand to fix the inventory. Since we used the inventory, we used the version of QB in the inventory, and then I ported over that. They use metadata, so I had to sort of include that a little bit. So you'll see some functions that are pretty much on point with QBs, which is just basically these functions right here. Actually, these functions, all the metadata functions. And that's just because we don't have metadata. So we're using this as just a base standard to see what we want to do with this. And we could change metadata to however we want to use it, and we probably will. Other than that, I believe a few events have changed. So yes. So I'll go through this, make it easy for you guys. Nothing really happened here. We added an update player, and then it just saves the player, basically. In the create player, we're gonna delete this. So we'll create the player, then load the player. In this loading section, I'll sort of run down what happened, what we edited. So we have new citizen ID, and we're passing the citizen ID, we're passing phone now, so that we can get called in player data. And then we are sending it to the inventory. So if this is a new character, it will create the inventory. If it's not a new character, it will load the person's inventory. And the inventory is saved on the players tab, which you'll see in the new SQL. The set group now works as well as the update all things. The player drop function, so this is on log off. So when a player logs off or gets dropped from the server, it will automatically save their data. On client side, nothing really changed. These two basically do the same thing, so I'm going to move this up most likely. But nothing really on this client side changed that much. Nothing really at all, actually. Yeah. So we'll go to core. We'll run through core a little bit. I believe we added something. I believe it's in client. Yes. So this is the player saving. So once they're logged in, it'll sleep for 1,000, which is 1 second times 60. So 60 minutes, and then, which is an hour. Wait. No. My bad. This is a minute. I'm dumb. 1,000 milliseconds times 60 is a minute, and then times 20. So every 20 minutes it saves. I'm just completely read that wrong. Commands, nothing changed here. I have looked at different command setups. We might be switching over. The OC commands now works, as well as all of these other commands that you could use in console. Our send elements notification works as well now, so I don't necessarily need to hide these anymore because the notifications work. The admin functions work. Admin commands will probably be coming after the phone, which we're going to port a phone as well. So creating characters, all this is the same. And here, deleting characters is actually different though. Since we can't do star, I basically made it a for loop, and it will delete everything in this tables tab. So basically, when you add an SQL, just put it in here. So when they delete their character, you'll put their the table in here, and it'll search for their citizen ID, which is basically their CID plus their Steam. So it's 100% unique. Nothing in database. I don't think. Just double check. Yeah, nothing in database. And then client side, I don't believe there's anything either. Oh, client side, we added the QB. So I'll sort of run you through how this works. So on player load, it'll set you to logged in as well. And then if new, so if you are a new player, it'll obviously teleport you to the airport. During this, it'll give you the first character. So you'll be able to customize everything, your body, clothing, everything. If you're not new, then it will load your skin and then open the spawn menu. Technically in that order, you can't see it happen, but it does it just like that. Other than that, I believe we already talked about the creating character, and so nothing new besides that part. We check the admin stuff. I don't think there's anything new in here. No, nothing new in admin. It's not used. This is going to be changed. We'll just add a different SQL that holds the whole server. So elements, we'll go through elements a little bit. Basically, I'm currently working on the money functions. They're slightly broken, and there was an error with our HTML that has been fixed. So now cache does show properly with the cache command. And then obviously notifications work as well. I'm gonna comment out this so you guys don't have to test command. Other than that though, once the cache gets fully, I mean, it's just the updating part, right? So once I fix this updating part, elements will be 100% good to go. So not too much left in elements. The loading screen, so this was FiveM's base loading screen. So yeah, their base loading screen. So in here, they had basically a loading, like a default loading screen. Showed you how it done it. This is an edited version for MP, basically. Logs currently are working for the Discord. Obviously, you got to put in all your webhooks, but it will work. The spawn function, nothing changed in there. Don't really have to go in there. Then we'll go into a little bit of how we're using aux real quick. First, we're gonna look at QB clothing though. So they have their SQL here. There's gonna be a base SQL though that you could use. You'll see a couple things in here. Obviously, I'm not gonna rename it because it's just pointless, right? So you can see how we ported. So how we ported, we used the get player function, our get player function, and a lot of this took a lot of time, really. The main problem for me was I messed up my get player function at a point, and then I figured out what it was after an hour and 20. If you guys were on that live stream, you know. But yeah, we basically changed all the functions to match the ones that we use. There really wasn't much for the clothing script, honestly. The clothing was actually pretty easy. Pretty easy compared to the inventory. Inventory took me about 3.5 hours to port fully. And even then, we might get a slight error with metadata. So we are using ox inventory. So I'll go through this. Ox lib and ops target are completely default. Our libs is gonna be slightly edited to use the proper bars, progress bars, and probably get rid of the notifications, as we don't really necessarily need them. But for right now, it is just completely default. So we'll go through a couple of things in here that you're gonna see a bunch of things change. So this was calling some sort of ID. It took me a while to actually realize that I could put my citizen ID in there, which was the best choice because that actually made it load properly. Comment out some of these prints. If you're ever solving bugs, use print functions to see where they end, because as you can see, when I was testing this, so this is the creation of the inventory, how it first starts. So I have here where if there's not data, is the data loading, and then if it didn't pass that, I knew it stopped here, so we got no data. After we got data, it went into here, came in, and then there's no return error, and you'll see it. I had another print for here, which was creating, and then this pass create, and then I grabbed the player ID, which we were passing through right here, which is basically source. Player ID is our source, right? And then our new name, so this is another thing. So I wrote new name up here, which is our player name first, and then a space last. So it'll show that on the top of your thing, and then everything owner is citizen ID, basically changing this whole setup of how everything is done in here, and all the SQL charts as well as all the functions you had to change. So you'll see that more in how they have it set up in the bridge QB. So we used the QB quote unquote at the start, seeing what's actually happening, but you had to change a lot for MP to actually work. So they used this get player from ID, which is a get player. Obviously, we don't have any of these resources started, so it just didn't make sense for us to do any of these. They have a whole bunch of add player methods, which technically I don't think we actually have this. We might not even have this function, so that might be added. I actually don't think this is a single function on the thing, but if it is, congrats, I guess, right? And so this is where the problem we sort of ran into. So it talks about metadata here, and we didn't have metadata for a while, and we're not using inventory. We're not using money in the inventory because I just find that cringe, and just a lot harder to do. So we're not doing that. So we had to talk a lot in between these, and then the regular server for bridge also gave us a lot of errors, but eventually they got solved, and it works as of now. So you might have to reset your keybinds. Go to keybinds, then FiveM, and you'll see inventory. Right now, I believe the default is F2, and then K for trunk spaces and stuff like that. But other than that, it all works. Just make sure you guys exec this resources. Not this one. My bad. Exec this one, which will be updated in there, and then it starts everything properly. Set your database, loading, everything like that, and you will be all good to mess around with that. Feel free to make scripts. If you come make scripts for MP, hop in the Discord. Yeah, that's about it though. That's a little update on MP. Still working on it. You'll see live streams here and there of me working on it and getting more and more done.